The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show, Vixens Who Rule. I am here with somebody that I'm meeting for the first time. Lovely face, lovely smile. I was afraid of what I was going to get here because, listen, you know on this show that I call a spade a spade. I was blown off earlier today by this lovely lady who described herself as a hot mess. And I got to tell you, Miss Leva Bates, a.k.a. Blue Pants, you don't look like a hot mess to me with that smile.
Well, I'm glad he thinks so. It's all part of the mask I wear, the act.
I got to tell you, Leva, if this is a hot mess, I don't want to catch you on a good day.
There you go. There's a coughing. Told you I was slightly sick. Well, thank you. I like to think I can clean up well. I'm definitely not cleaned up right now. I'm between shows here at work.
Well, Leva, it's funny because I caught a tweet from you yesterday, and you confirmed it today. I guess you were working last night. You had a big 9-hour drive home, and you just got home a couple hours ago, and you went to right to work.
Yeah. Pretty much. I had maybe a little less than 3 hours of sleep, probably like 2.5 hours of sleep, give or take.
Well, what state were you working in?
North Carolina.
And you live in Florida, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you work at Disney World or Universal?
Universal Studios, yeah.
Wow, so you worked. Now, listen, right after the match, did you get in the car and come home?
Pretty much after the show. Our show was an afternoon show, so we did the show. I think I was like second to last match. So I stayed around, sold some merch after the show because, and had to get paid. And then me and a couple of the other girls from Florida hopped in the car and went straight home.
Well, I got to tell you, Leva, I'll be honest. I'm happy to hear at least it was you and a couple of the girls and not you on your own. I always listen, man. I've been there. I've done that. We've all done it in wrestling, but especially like when it comes to the females, that really makes me nervous. I'm glad you were with a couple of girls last night.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I was. No one was going to mess with us. I had Jessica Havoc and Andrea, who used to be Rosie Love, and Betsy Ruth. So I had a posse that no one's going to mess with.
Yeah, no one's. I know both of those girls. As a matter of fact, I worked with Rosie at a TNA, and then I met Havoc at a convention about a week ago. Now, let me ask you this. I know you came out of Bubba's school, Bubba and Devon. I don't want to shortchange Devon. I know Rosie did. Now, did Havoc go to that school as well?
No. I think she trained in Ohio. She's initially from Ohio, and she moved to Florida 2 years ago. I think.
Now, Leva, I got to tell you this because if you don't follow Vince Russo, the brand, I don't think you know about this, but you're like a household name on our show. Like, Blue Pants is the running gag, and I'll tell you why, okay?
Okay.
Listen, Leva, I don't want to get you in any trouble, but I like to occasionally, now and again, I like to make fun of the internet wrestling community. I think they take things way too seriously. There's no sense of humor. Everything are reports, and it's so serious and this and that. So a couple of months ago, they were reporting about you and, you have all this backstage heat at NXT because you're able to take independent bookings and this, that, and the other thing. Now listen, I'm not going to talk to you about that because quite frankly, Leva, I don't care about that. But I found it hysterical that as they were talking about you and all this, oh my God, this girl's got nuclear heat, this, that, and the other thing. They weren't referring to you as Leva. They were referring to you as Blue Pants. So all I kept reading was, Blue Pants is in trouble. Blue Pants is heat. And it was like, I was just saying to myself, will you guys kind of take a minute and look at what you're writing? You look like the biggest idiots on the face of this planet. Obviously, this lovely young woman was not named Blue Pants by her parents. She obviously has a name. But Leva, I want to ask you about this because one thing I find so fascinating about wrestling, and maybe it's because I gave a lot of people their names, but in the real world, they refer to themselves as their names. Like, for instance, Bubba, and he's dating Velvet now, but like they call each other Bubba and Velvet, and like it's like Bizarro World. But now you've got to be an exception to the rule because they can't call you Blue Pants or they can't call you Blue. They got to call you by your real name, I hope.
Well, I don't know. A lot of times I'll walk in someplace like, hey, what's up, Blue Pants? Hey, what's up? Like literally, like, what's up, Pants?
See, to me that's ridiculous, and unfortunately this is going to follow you for your whole entire life. You know that now.
I don't mind. It's what pays the bills.
Now, Leva, I want to ask you this: is Leva your birth name?
Yes.
I love that name. See, I love unique and different. You're the first person I know of that has that name. I love that name. Was that a family name? Were you named after somebody?
Actually, yeah, my great aunt. I was supposed to be a Willie. I guess my mom didn't get, me checked, and they assumed I was a boy. So she's like, they're gonna name me Willie. I'm like, Mom, you're gonna name me Willie? She's gonna name me Dick or Richard or something. But I came out a girl, and they're like, oh shit. What can we name her? And then my grandmother asked if I could be named after her sister, Leva, who had passed away several years prior to me being born. And they're like, oh, okay. So they played around with different versions, like April Leva, Leva K, Leva, a couple different ways. And then they stuck with Leva K Bates. That's my actual name.
Did you like your name, Leva, growing up? Because I think that's a great name. Nobody's got that name. It's unique.
I loved it. I there's so many, all right, not to knock on anyone, but so many like Amandas and, Jessicas. And I loved having the weird name because I was always a little weird kid anyway. So I loved having that. And even when I was younger, I found out like Tom Cruise and Hulk Hogan and all of those names weren't real. And it upset me. I was legitimately upset to find out those names were not real. So I decided, when you're a kid, when I get famous, I'm going to use my real name because Leva Bates is the coolest name in the world. So that's what I did.
So obviously this is the first question I have to ask you because obviously I'm a very creative guy. Everything I read about you are extremely creative. You got a great name, Leva. From what I understand, your background, really, you went to college, I think Murray State for entertainment. So your background is entertainment. You're into cosplay, something I'm very, very curious about. So, you reek entertainment, personality. How, with all that, how the heck do we come up with Blue Pants?
It was literally an accident. Literally, not an accident, but like just kind of lightning in a bottle, to be honest. Most people, when they get called to be an extra, they come out with the ref. But for this particular taping, they're going to have Carmella debut, but it was going to be after a tag match went awry. The End Zone cast, their opponents fought each other instead of them. They're like, oh, well, we have all this extra time and then the match. Carmella, do you want to have a match? Hey, girl in the blue pants, because I was wearing blue pants. Hey, girl in the blue pants, come on down. And when I popped out, I was like, what's wrong with my blue pants? Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And like the crowd just started chanting blue pants. I don't know if it's a combination because they knew me, because I'm local to the area. But it's just funny. They just thought it was funny, the girl in the blue pants. And they're like, blue pants, blue pants.
Well, let me ask you this. I can see that being funny. You telling that story, I totally get it. But for the long haul, after a while, if I'm putting myself in your shoes. After a while, I'm saying, all right, the gig's up. Funny. I've got a real name. Blue Pants is, I don't know if that's really marketable or whatnot. Has it become a hindrance to you at all?
No, not really. Because I'm allowed to use, if I want to use blue pants outside. I tell promoters, if you're going to use blue pants, call me Leva Blue Pants Bates or Leva Bates, also known as Blue Pants, or Blue Pants Leva Bates or something.
But does this mean now, you always have to wear the blue pants?
No. last night I was wrestling ODB, and I came out in Wu-Tang Clan gear, and I was like, "What's up? I'm ready for ODB." Wait, that's a different ODB. What? And then I call myself Woo Pants. I'm not Blue Pants today. I'm Woo Pants. And
Yeah.
the people started chanting Woo Pants, and they just thought it was hysterical. And like it was a kind of a comedy match, but ended up picking up and being a really like good match. But the crowd loved it. Like we played on the whole ODB thing. I did the Woo Pants. It was a
Yeah,
lot
that
of fun.
sounds like it. Yeah, I saw you took some selfies of you and ODB. You put them online. I saw those.
Yeah.
I could tell a lot about you just by going through your Twitter feed, which I love you. Very outgoing as you with all these people and the smile on your face. You seem to be the kind of girl that everybody loves.
Oh, well, thank you. I hope so. I like to think so. I don't know.
Now let me ask you this. So now you said you're at I forget what you said, Walt Disney or Universal?
Universal.
Universal, and we used to do our show there. Obviously, you knew TNA for years and years and years. Now, what kind of a show do you do at Universal?
I do a couple different ones. I do two different stunt shows. It's the Terminator stunt show, 3D show, and then I do the Sinbad stunt show. And then I also do the Superstar Parade. There's a bunch of dance shows within that parade. We do dance shows during the day, and then at the end of the shift, we do a big parade where there's dance shows within the parade. And then I also do another dance show at Seuss Landing as well. I hang out.
Leva, that's really interesting, though, because now, you mentioned the first two shows, Sinbad, I think, and Terminator. They're stunt shows, whereas the other shows are dance shows.
Yeah.
So, like, are you first hired as a dancer, then they learn about your background in wrestling or whatnot, and then you kind of make the transition to stunt person? Because I'm sure, like, off the bat, without the proper training, you just can't be a stunt woman, right?
Yeah, they're actually pretty good about wanting to train you their style, but it does help that if you have a background, if you have some sort of background. I actually had a background because I worked at a dude ranch in Michigan, and we did stunt shows there. So I did about 2 years of stunt shows, like Western stunt shows with Rugers and doing high falls off a building and that type of stuff, well falls and having the jail fall around you and, crazy stuff like that. So I actually had stunt work experience, but actually got hired in as a dancer and character.
Now, is the pay scale different? Do you get paid a little bit more to do stunt work compared to a dancer, or is it all relatively the same?
It's different depending on do you have lines, do you not have lines, how featured are you, how risky are your stunts. There's like stunt pay that goes with the stunt shows, and the more difficult or more, I guess, life-threatening your stunts are, the higher the stunt pay is. Like I do a high fall every show, so that's a lot more of a stunt pay than I would if I was doing like Terminator.
It's funny now. See, I'm starting to see a little pattern here. You had all this kind of nuclear heat backstage at NXT because you were able to work independent shows. Now you probably got heat with the stunt people at Universal because you're allowed to go do the dancing gimmick, and you probably got heat with the dancing people because you go do the stunt work. Am I onto something?
No, actually, it's not like that at all with the stunt shows. A lot of us are cross-trained and everything. There's a bunch of us who do the dance stuff that do the stunts. I work with, like, half the people I trained in with are in my cast right now doing the dance show I'm in. Hey, Leva, a lot of them are pogos or drummers or dancers, but yeah.
I got to ask you something, though, because this is interesting to me, because being a stunt worker, a female stunt worker, and being a female dancer, like, they're two completely different animals. So I guess when you're doing this, because my question is this. The people you're working with, if you're working with women when you're doing the stunts and you're working with women who are the dancers, are these women with like completely different personalities and you kind of almost got to be a chameleon from job to job?
Yes and no. With stunts, I'm going to say it's kind of more choreographed. Definitely way more choreographed than anything like wrestling or anything. Like, you do the same fight over and over and over. It's the same fight. You have to be in the same mark. And it's very almost dancer-ish at times. I mean, you don't want to make it pretty because you're fighting, but it's very similar. You have to be on your mark with the beat, the timing. So it's really not that different, and having dance kind of makes you a little bit more flexible and able to move yourself physically. But yeah, I can see the stunt and the dancers. It's a little bit, maybe a little bit more rough around the edges, meets a little softer. Yes and no. I'm pretty much just me. And, the really oddball, geeky girl that makes the weirdest jokes. And I get along with both.
Well, yeah, all right, so now we've established you got heat with the wrestlers, you got heat with the stunt people, and you got heat with the dancing. You and me have a lot in common, because I have heat with a lot of people as well. But, Leva, I have to ask you this, and answer me honestly now, okay? Answer me honestly. When you get into stunt work, see, here's the thing. I got to be honest with you. I'm the biggest wuss, on the face of the planet. So first, obviously, I would never in my wildest dream think about getting involved in something like this. But on the other side of the coin, I can't imagine, a stunt woman or a stunt guy for that matter. It doesn't even matter. You can't even, think about getting hurt, can you?
I mean, I hope not. But, I mean, it's happened. I've actually... had my finger sliced open doing a sword fight before a show opened. We always have to do fight runs before a show, and we were doing our sword fight, and the girl's sword just came right down on my knuckle. I don't know if you can see it. I have a scar on my knuckle now, but yeah,
I can see
just
that.
sliced it open. I didn't even know it was sliced open. I mean, I felt it, but I didn't know I was gashing. So I finished the fight, and I was like, oh, that wasn't too bad. You caught my finger, but we're good. And they're like, Leva, look at your hand. And I'm like, oh, I should probably get that looked at. And I had to go to the doctor because it was that bad. Every time I bent my finger, would gush. So I was like, I should probably get a stitch or two.
But Leva, I would think if injury is in your mind, doesn't that actually increase the chance of you getting hurt?
Yes and no. I mean, they're very, very big on safety here. Very big on safety. We always do fight runs. You always practice something over and over and over. And if you haven't been there for a while, they'll make sure you kind of go over it with you again to make sure, all right, when you're doing this stunt, that you're not gonna, trip and break your face, So they're very big on safety here. So I don't really worry too much. I mean, accidents are gonna happen, just because. I mean, I probably got hurt dancing more than I have stunts, to be honest. So it's things are gonna happen, especially if you're a natural born klutz. But I mean, honestly, knock on wood. Here's a tree behind me. I'll knock on that. That's the only real injury I've ever gotten. I mean, real injury from the stunts. I've kind of jammed my thumb a couple times and that type of stuff, but never really anything too bad. Whereas I've twisted my ankle and kind of wore out my knee doing the dance stuff. The actual real injuries.
Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up actually in Madison, Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm a Kentucky girl.
Yeah, I
used to talk like this a little bit.
Yeah, I know all about that. I actually went to college in Indiana, so I'm very familiar with Kentucky.
Yeah, I went to school at Murray State, which is in Kentucky.
Yeah, I know that. Now, how did you find your way to Florida?
Actually, one of my best friends from Michigan. I graduated and went and worked at the Dude Ranch for a little bit and met my friend who is a makeup artist. She's an actor, but mostly a makeup artist. So she moved to Florida to do makeup school. And so I was still doing Michigan and trying to figure out what my next move was. And she's like, move to Florida. There's all sorts of acting jobs here. You can work at a theme park. You can finally be Sarah Connor. And I'm like, sweet. So that's what I did. I went home, saved up a little bit of money, and moved to Florida. And pretty much within a couple months got hired at Universal.
Now, let me ask you this, though. When you graduated college in Murray State, you got a degree in a theater, correct? Mm-hmm. What really did you want to do at that point? When you were through with college, while you were in college, what were your sights set on?
Well, we all want to be super famous movie stars, obviously. I wanted to do acting. But my main goal, like my realistic goal, was to be a self-sustaining performer, to
Mm-hmm.
make a living fully on nothing but entertainment. So that was my goal, and I've accomplished it.
Okay, so you get hired at the theme park first. How does the wrestling play into this?
I actually am a huge wrestling fan, so I would go and watch TNA. I would like work, and then after work I go over and start watching TNA. Met a couple of the guys that some of them were doing ring crew, some of them were just fans, but they all started training around the same time at this school. It's a different school. Before Bubba's school, it was FXE. Devon was helping at this school, and that's how I met him and was able to go to their school. So I went to that school. I was going to be a manager at first because I didn't really know I could do wrestling because I never really knew, like, I always loved wrestling, but never knew how to get into it until I was at TNA one day. They're like, there's a wrestling school. You go to school for it. I'm like, why am I not finding out about this so late in life? So I ended up going, thinking I'll just be a manager. And by the end of the first day, they're like, you're not a manager, you're a wrestler. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I've been doing it ever since. I literally just got talked into it one day. They're like, you do stunts, you do dance, you act. You're pretty nuts. Why don't you go try it out? And I'm like, I would love to. So I just went with a couple friends one day and signed up.
So you're working at Universal, and at the same time you're going to Bubba and Devon school, and you're training to become a wrestler.
Yep. I would literally do dance shows. At the time, it was 6 dance shows a day. Get done about 5 or 6. Hop in the car, drive about 30 minutes, fight traffic, and do Bubba and Devon school to about 9 to 10 o'clock at night.
God, that is listen. It's not like your day job was sitting behind the desk. I know what it is going to wrestling school alone. I kind of went through that process because I wanted to learn what the business was all about. That's a lot of physicality in a day.
It is, because most of my dancing is I'm wearing a big fuzzy suit and then still doing full-blown dancing in 100-degree weather.
Yeah, we got.
Because it's Florida.
Let me ask you about this because I'm a mark for this kind of stuff.
Okay.
What suit are you in doing the dancing?
It depends. And the way we say it is I'm not so-and-so, I hang out with so-and-so. When I first started doing the dance shows, the first show I got was an 80s dance show where I hung out with Curious George, hung out with Winnie Woodpecker. That's Woody's girlfriend, if y'all don't know who Winnie is. Basically, I'm a ripoff of Minnie Mouse. And then I also had a human. I was a human 80s girl. Then we started doing like seasonal shows, whereas I could do a Christmas show. I still have the same characters. I hung up the same characters, but now you're like, Curious George in a pirate suit for Halloween, stuff like that.
Let me ask you this, and I got some questions about this. See, listen, you got to understand something. I don't talk about wrestling on this show. It's the least.
I don't either.
It's the least of my interest. I'm telling you. Okay. First of all, now you taught me something that I may be able to use. A lot of people who don't like me refer to me as an imbecile. So I think I could start saying now, oh no, I just hang out with an imbecile. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. Now listen. Yeah. Now, Leva, you got it. These shows. Listen, my parents live in Ocala, Florida. I remember, man. Obviously, the years and years I worked at TNA. I'm not a humidity guy. That's why I moved to Colorado. I remember, literally in Florida, going outside from the stage set and just I wanted to throw up. You can't be doing any of these shows with your friends outside in the heat, I hope.
Oh, yeah. No, my internal temperature gauge is broken. There was a time, because now I hang out with Carlos the Angry Chicken from Hop. Like, his face literally looks like this. I love it. I get to hang out with such an asshole and act out all of, like, oh, you're a stupid guest? Okay, let me tell you how you're stupid. But I was hanging out and finishing a parade. And it was in the middle of summer. I would say it was probably like end of July. So it's probably at least 100 degrees outside. Probably 120 for Carlos. And it's raining. I'm raining, like, with sweat. And at one point I thought to myself, I'm perfectly comfortable at this moment. And I realized I'm broken. So that's why anytime I go up north, I freeze. I freeze pretty much under 70 degrees
Wait
now.
a minute, Leva. There's got to be. Listen, you must. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing now, and I hate to do this with girls because they get upset. You probably weigh about 115, maybe.
Actually, yeah, right at that.
Okay.
Sometimes a little less.
There's got to be some kind of fan system or something when you're hanging out with your friends. No.
Some of them have it. I don't use it ever.
But
I don't like
how?
it.
But how? The combination of everything you're telling me, how are you not possibly passing out?
You just, I guess, get acquired to it. You're only out there for, if it's over 90 degrees, you're only out there for 20 minutes. That's kind of like a safety rule. If it's under 90 degrees, it's no more than 30. So you're only out there 30 minutes at a time to 20 minutes at a time. So that helps. Honestly, moving around keeps the air flowing. I literally get used to it. I mean, there's times when you see people passed out. We always have health services people around, and so especially in the summer, there's always a few people that like every couple weeks will pass out or have heat exhaustion.
Hey, Leva, let me ask you this, and I'm kind of getting like behind the scenes stuff on this stuff, which I'm kind of digging a little bit. if God forbid somebody like passes out when they're with the person, God forbid, like, would they get in a lot of trouble? Oh, okay.
Usually they encourage you. If you think you're going to pass out, leave. Like, I gotta go away. And then you kind of just like, you see out of nowhere, oh, there you go, it's one of the characters,
Now you when you're hanging out with Curious George, there's usually like a handler involved too, right?
Yeah, because we call them leads or escorts.
Oh, yeah, because probably like a lot of idiots mess around with the people you're with, right?
That, and also you have a voice. Because, like, Curious George isn't allowed to talk, and neither is, like, Woody or Carlos or Thing 1 or Thing 2 or Cat in the Hat or any of those characters. So they can be your voice. So, all right, guys, line up right here if you want to take a picture with whoever. And then sometimes when, like, you're animating, they may not understand what you're saying, and so you work with someone and they know what you're doing. Oh, yeah, they're saying they like your hat. Oh, cool, thanks, Woody. That type of thing. So they kind of your voice and your security guard and your eyes sometimes.
But this kind of goes now beyond your professional life. You like to do this when, you're you and you're not working. You're into this cosplay. I'm very intrigued by this cosplay. And I've tried to get people on the show, and, like, they won't come on the show. So, like, my first instinct is, like, are you ashamed to be in like a cosplay? Like, I don't understand. That's why when I saw you were into that, I popped because I'm so intrigued by this. So now you like to do this on the outside, right?
Yeah, before I even knew what cosplay was, because like cosplay, the term kind of came about not too long ago, actually. But I would go to parties, and it wouldn't be. I'm moving under a tree; it's starting to sprinkle. I would dress up for parties, and it wouldn't be costume parties. A friend of mine was having like a random get-together party in college, and I was like, I'm gonna go. And I ended up dressing up like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I even walked around with a wooden stake. And they're like, what? Why are you doing that? I don't know, just felt like it. When I had a bowling league, I made all of the other team members dress up. It was a bunch of us girls, so we all were kind of into it anyway. So one day we'd have like pajama day, next time we would be Catholic schoolgirls, and then one guy would be our father, like Father Bosley. We had Dress Like a Man. That's the first time I ever did a Charlie Chaplin costume, actually. And I actually kept in character. I didn't talk the entire night. That's fun when you're doing a bowling league.
Now, Leva, listen. Let me just let you know too. A lot of people refer to me as the Oprah of podcasting. So
Okay.
I'm starting to now find out things about you. Now I'm starting to get into your head a little bit to really understand who you are. Now you had to be one of these kids growing up, where you were the kid that they dared to do something and there wasn't anything you wouldn't do. Were you that kid?
Yeah.
You were that
Pretty
kid.
much. For the most part, yeah.
So,
Critically acclaimed producers Kayfabe Commentaries bring you the most candid shoot interview ever with Sabu, nephew of the legendary Sheik.
Would your aunt be talking business
Of course.
with the Sheik?
Oh, yeah. And Carney. She can speak Carney better than me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Prepare to explore the darkest corners of the man behind Sabu.
I would have stopped pain pills entirely if I was out of pain. Because I've been a little too long at the dance myself.
You feel now you've been too long at the dance?
Breaking Kayfabe with Terry Sabu Brunk, now available on DVD and on demand at shootinterviews.com.